Go, Shane.
All right. So welcome to Frustrated and Nice. It's fucking amazing that you've given yourself this time and space to learn. This is a really strong area. And I'm going to share a little bit about why Om and I are so passionate about this, taking my boots off and all. So you may not know us yet, and we'll share a little bit about ourselves in a moment, but this is so this topic of the nice guy is in both of our work, both in our faces, and we respect each other's work and have I've hosted Om a bunch for my clients. And the idea of the nice guy, obviously over 60 men registered for this, is loud. And we see the frustration, we see the need, we see why men and women are not getting together. And we believe we have ass-kicking answers and results that are possible. And so we'll go into that a bunch. We'll go into what you can do right now, and then we'll give you a big, fat, awesome solution at the end of this. So stay till the end, because we really want you to get results, whatever your results mean. And we want you to get physical attention. We want you to get emotional attention. We want you to feel that you're empowered and you're living at your edge, so that who you are doesn't go away. You just get to be a better you and more refined. And with the information you'll get tonight, hopefully you'll get inspired to do so. So I have posted, maybe we'll save the questionnaire. I feel like we're on a roll.
You want to tell them a little bit about your work, and then I'll...
Yes. Okay, great. So I am Enchantress Shane. I work with sensitive men and women to fuck their fears and to learn how to have trust, self-trust, that is sustainable. So whether you have self-trust in one area, you can carry it to another area. My background, I'm a behaviorist. I've worked with all kinds of sensitive populations, from long ago, kids with special needs and teenagers in prison, to adults and families and adults who want results. I never realized that rhymed, but I'm really passionate about self-expression, and that's where Om and I have a real nice synergy. I've done a one-woman show. I'm a published author. Like, I believe through being seen, we come to life. And I've taken a bunch of Om's workshops in BDSM. And I also own the Awkward Academy. So I'm a recovering awkward. I'm a recovering people pleaser. I know where you are. I understand you. And yeah, Om, why don't you share who you are?
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Om Rupani. I teach workshops in man-woman relating and BDSM. I have a course for men called Creating the Dominant Man. This topic, it would be incorrect to even say that it is everywhere these days. I feel it's been here. It's a topic of our generation. It's a topic of my generation. I think men have been stuck in their nice guy gear for a long time. And as the title of our little webinar suggests, there's a lot of frustration. Right. There's a lot of frustration that men are feeling, they're experiencing, and looking for help. And I think there's a lot of misinformation out there that keeps them kind of trapped and in their groove. There's misinformation out in the culture, and also, quite frankly, there's a lot of resistance on the part of the men themselves to look at themselves. And we're going to talk about a little bit about that in today's webinar, on what some of those structures are, and then really try and dismantle some of the bad ideas and the bad identity structures in our little intensive course that we're going to be offering in a few weeks. Yeah, so I think the best we can do is kind of really jump into the conversation so that you can kind of feel, yeah, let's have the rubber meet the road, right? So maybe we can, Shane, you're muted. So should we start with who needs the class?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well, I know I said it already, but great for you for showing up, because what Om said is true. A lot of men, when I bring up being nice, there's a lot of resistance and a lot of defense. Like, I'm not like this like microaggression, which we'll share about. So yeah, actually, let's just do, I'm going to ask the questions from the questionnaire. So I think this is, you're here, right? So you consider yourself a nice guy, and to really think about what does a nice guy mean to you? So, how do you know? And maybe we'll do it in a question format. How do you know when someone is a nice guy? Because you also talked about, to me, nice doesn't, if you're a nice guy, it doesn't mean we're not working to not be kind, right? There's still a kindness.
Yeah, I think that's like myth number one that we will talk about, maybe even a little bit today, but certainly when we offer our class. So my approach is always very practical, right? I'm a results oriented guy. So my criteria for be would be checking to see if you're a nice guy is, are you getting the results you want? If you're getting the results you want, you don't need us. Hang up now. You're golden. What the hell do you need us for? Are you forming the relationships, the kind of relationships with women that make you feel, wow, this is amazing? Are women responding to you? Are you creating balanced and reciprocal relationships with women? Are you getting the response from women that you want? Or are you constantly frustrated and baffled? Is the constant narrative in your head is, I am such a nice guy, why don't things work out for me? If you are in that rut, if you're in that puzzlement, then you're in the right place. Then you're in the right conversation. If you're getting the results you want, if you are having thriving relationships with women, and we really need to emphasize this thing. There's a lot of this conversation that is going to be oriented towards men forming the kind of satisfying relationships with women that they want. But the nice guy phenomenon extends beyond the men's relationships with women because it impacts many parts of their lives. But for now, for the hell of it, since that's the reason most men show up, they want results in their dynamics with women. My simple question would be, are you getting the results you want? If you are, keep doing what you're doing. We have no agenda to mess up with anything that's working. We are here to maybe have a conversation with you and point out some patterns that you might be doing that are not getting you the results that you want, in spite of you having this identity like, I'm a pretty decent person. How come I don't get affection? I don't know. How come I don't get love? How come my attention is not reciprocated? How come my niceness is not rewarded? I think that's one of the core resentments of the nice guy is, I should be receiving more reward, especially from the feminine, because I'm a decent human being. I'm a nice guy. I show up. And on the other side of that resentment is, things are not fair and women are not fair, right? So on the surface is the identity of the nice guy. On the back burner is a lot of resentment brewing in those pots back there for the nice guy. So yeah, if this resonates with you, then this conversation is for you. If you please keep posting your questions, we would love to be able to have this be interactive. Whether this is resonating with you or not resonating with you, if questions come up, so we can have a bit of a conversation with you during this hour. Shane, do you want to add anything?
I do. I also want to add, this applies, at least with the men that I've worked with, and I'm sure with men at large, to men that are in partnerships and men that are not. I have several married clients who don't have sexual relationships or fire or desire in their marriage. And so I want to say that this is something that when you say it reaches in different areas, most men who work with me come to me because they want something, they don't know what's there, and there's some rationalization about like why they're not with a woman. It's not the right time, it's divine timing, it's like I'm busy. When it's the right time, the woman will come. And then when I'm out and in social situations or even on Zoom, there's I can spot it immediately. Now I'm pretty tuned in, but there's something about the nice guy that doesn't want to mess up. There's this air about him that's like, I'll do anything you want. I am here for you. And it's, to me, it reminds me of this like twisted fairy tale from when, little with these fairy tale stories that is like, I'm going to be a hero. Like, will you, like, there's this almost a cadence in their voice that is gripping something they want, and they don't know what to do when they have it. And then there's all this awkwardness. So I'm like a pretty big expert on awkwardness. And so these are key characteristics. If you feel like you're going to mess up, if you feel like you're going to get in trouble, if you're often wondering, I've done everything, when is it going to be my turn? Like that piece, and you've been alone a really long time. We're going to bust a couple of myths, and I really want to bring them up, because the first one directly from this is the thought and the myth that women jump into bed with bad boys, like women like bad boys. And when we talked about that, it's like, that is not true, right? I'm sure there are some women, and maybe when you were 15, like, yes. But as a grown ass adult, women make themselves, I'll just speak from my point of view. I make myself available when I'm interested. And that curiosity is because someone's energy is confident and aware, and they're just a feeling of, I am present, I am here, and they're in their body. So yeah, do you want to say anything about that myth that women
Yeah,
jump?
I want to track back one step and really emphasize something which you mentioned. I want to highlight it, which is, yes, at one level, the nice guy phenomenon or the nice guy coaching is like, oh, I am not having success meeting women, and if I have some fix, I will be able to meet women. But Shane pointed out a very important point. You could have met a woman, you could have married a woman, and you could be stuck in the nice guy zone, and your relationship is suffering because of it.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many women I have spoken to who are reaching their own levels of frustration in their marriage or in their relationship, and their primary complaint is, my man doesn't really have an edge. He is too nice. He's a nice, they will say it, he's a nice guy, he's a sweet man, he's very kind, he's very thoughtful. He doesn't excite me, and my attention is wandering elsewhere. I don't feel desire for him. And they're not, those women truly are not being evil, they are not being harsh. Many of them are deeply conflicted because they actually don't want to damage their relationship or their marriage. Some of them may have kids, but they're like, can you do something? Can you help him with something so that I may feel more desire, that there may be more ignition between us? This niceness isn't enough. And I don't want him to become the opposite of nice. I don't want him to turn crazy. And yet he is just too soft, he's too nice, and he doesn't inspire passion. He doesn't really inspire desire. And quite frankly, it goes deeper than that, which we will get into when we do our course. It is one of the biggest handicaps of the nice guy is he's actually really ill-equipped to handle feminine eros. But there are layers and layers to the nice guy. This is not just about being courteous or polite, which nice guys would like to believe that's all nice guys are. They're just quote unquote nice. They're not. There's a deficiency in this nice guy identity, which really has to be dealt with. And one of the biggest deficiency, if you're truly carrying this nice guy template, is you actually don't understand women that much. Your bandwidth is not very wide when it comes to the feminine, and you surely have not grappled with the depth and the width of feminine eros. Right? Women don't show themselves fully to nice guys. Women don't show their sex fully to nice guys because, quite frankly, they would blow a gasket. They're not equipped for it. So we really need to get underneath what this nice guy identity is. It isn't just about, oh, you're just polite and nice and courteous. Nobody really has a problem with that. There is a constriction in your masculine template that we refer to as this nice guy template. It is handicapped in many ways. And we really need to get in there and be honest about it and kind of lift the lid off of it and take away its false myths. There are a lot of false myths that the nice guys have about nice guys, which we are going to rip away from you starting today, probably.
Yeah.
Right. So the first myth, maybe we should get into this.
Yeah.
The first myth the nice guy carries, a lot of women carry this too, but those women, I think they are in their own kind of shadow. But the myth that the nice guy carries is, oh, well, do you just want me to turn into an asshole? Would you prefer that I was a psychopath? Now, this is a bullshit equivalency. This is a myth. This is complete nonsense to say the opposite of nice guy is the asshole. That these are the two choices masculinity has. You can either be the nice guy or you can turn into a psychopathic asshole. Who wants to be the psychopathic asshole? Isn't it better to be a nice guy? This is a nonsense equivalency. These are both damaged templates of the masculine. Yes, the psychopathic asshole is a damaged template, but so is the nice guy. The real man, the real balanced man is somewhere in between. And he is much more nuanced and much more complex than either of those templates, which are both constricted, which are both wounded, which are both limited. They are limited in their expression of masculinity. So if you're going to come into our work, first of all, we're going to take away this myth away from you. I don't let anybody get by with this myth, not men, and women will sometimes do it too. Like, oh, I just jumped from nice guys to assholes, assholes to nice guys. I'm like, no, you are the damaged one. Seek therapy. You are the one seeking really bad and incomplete masculine templates. You probably don't know what to do with yourself when in front of a healthy masculine who has access to his entire range, who can be polite, who can be courteous, who can be civil, who doesn't need to be anything. And yet, if you push him or if you cross his edge, you will find that out very quickly what he's made up of. He's not a man you can fuck with, right? And he doesn't need to be that way unless needed, and many things in between. So this is one of the biggest things. This is one of the biggest complaints. I think probably Shane gets this even more than I do, which is like, well, what's wrong with being nice?
Yeah.
Nice guy phenomenon is not about being nice. It is a misnomer. Shane, you want to speak on that?
Yeah, I do. So because I have this range of different populations I've worked with, I've seen the nice guy formed at 4 years old because of, we're not going to go too deep into this mothering, but there's something that happens throughout life where if you don't do the right thing, if you don't listen to mommy, there's a lot of shame put on taking a stand for yourself. And often that leads to emotions that are just so misunderstood, that a little boy grows into a man that's like, I just want to make you happy. What else do I need to do? And it's covered up sometimes with unconscious laughter or just like that, a fear of taking a stand or disagreeing with a woman, like on a very practical level. So when I'm talking to a man, whether it's a client or again, in my regular life, I have a lot of opinions that I speak about. And if somebody's just going along with me the whole time and just sort of in this, like, just want to make you happy and listen to everything you have to say, I'm bored. And immediately I want to get the fuck out of there. It's not interesting. It's not exciting. And I don't really know who that person is. And that's what's most interesting to me. And so what I see with a lot of guys is there's a lot of the emotional bandwidth stopped at 15, 16 years old. And it's like a John Hughes movie and everybody's either popular or not cool. And there's so much in between. And we have a question here. I'll integrate it in a moment. Thank you, Darren. Is that the nuance is so interesting to amazing women. And that's where we want to play. Doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what your belly looks like. When a woman is interested and she's curious, there's desire. And that is the magic. And that is something that is so important and has nothing to do with broken, even if you had the shittiest of childhoods, you can learn tools and skills and implement them, and things will be different. I think I went a little off on what you asked me, but I want to, yeah. And so developing this edge, it's a great question. So I always say through the actions, you come to life. The piece that I want to say is there is an actual embodied fear that if you learn these tools, that you'll be a bully or you'll be mean. And that's what Om was speaking to. When you change the way you operate, it might feel counterintuitive. It might feel wrong. It might feel mean. It might feel like you're not being yourself anymore. But that's important. If what you're doing isn't working and you're implementing new things, it's really important to have a container, to have teachers so that you can learn yourself and learn how to operate from this place of I'm confident, I'm great, I have a lot of nice qualities, but I have boundaries, I have limitations, and I can learn my edge. So if you can claim that, then you're always going a little deeper and a little further. And it actually becomes exciting. I used to work in strip clubs. I was a stripper for a long time. I spoke to men for 11 years in very instant situations. And there were so many men that wouldn't ask me to dance. And I was a people pleaser, so I wouldn't ask them. And there we were, two nice people in an environment that had full permission to say and do whatever, and nothing would happen. So I've been watching for a long time that it's just like a what are those handshakes when somebody shakes your hand and it's wishy-washy. And so you might have a problem saying yes or no. Let's just say that right there, right? So an edge, just a really practical example would be, can you own yes? Can you own no without explaining or saying anything more, even a laugh? Anything you want to answer to that? How do you develop?
I think that's a great image for a yes, a solid yes and a solid no. I mean, we're going to be talking about the having your edge and really getting into what this means. I think actually it's a great word to explore what it means for a man to have his edge. But I think a solid yes and a solid no is a great start. It may be like 50% of it. Do you know yourself? Do you know who you are? And do you know who you are independent of other people? Do you know who you are independent of women?
Right.
Because none of your entire behavior, your entire comportment, your entire character should not be women dependent. Women hate that. Women are extremely suspicious of men willing to remold themselves to get in their pants. Women don't trust that. Women want to see what you're made up of. They want to see where your no's are. They want to see where your yeses are. It is in women's instinct to actually poke you and test you to figure out where your yeses and no's are. And if they can't find them, they actually consider that a bad thing. Like, I don't know who this man actually is. That limpness is not particularly attractive, right? And this limpness in men, that I don't know where my yes is, I don't know where my no is, I don't know where my desires are, I don't know who I am, independent of other people, independent of women. This has deep ramifications, not just with your relationships with women. This is what I mean. The nice guy phenomenon is not just a man-woman thing. This nice guy phenomenon where a man is like, I will decide what my yes and no is depending on who I'm sitting across from. That will impact you in every part of your life. It most certainly will impact you in your relationships with other men, because men don't trust that. Men will absolutely not trust you if you don't know where your edges are, if you don't know where your boundaries are. And that's not a small thing. If you're not capable of forming strong relationships with men, there's a huge handicap in your life, right? So this nice guy phenomenon, this symptom of the nice guy phenomenon spreads all over the life of a man. It is not just about that he's not getting the response he wants from women. And we're going to really get into what it means to have this edge. This idea of edge also has a very cartoonish misconception, like, oh, you just think it's some abrasive guy. Not really. You don't have to be abrasive. You don't have to be loud. You just need to know yourself. You need to have clean boundaries. You need clear yes, clear no. You don't need to pick a fight with anybody. You don't need to get in an argument. but you can't be jello when encountering people. You can't, your yeses and nos can't be like jello when with a woman. When negotiating something, when creating something, when asking for your desires, when seeing if the relationship you're developing is reciprocal or not.
Okay, so from that, I want to introduce the next myth, which is women are damaged. So this is the kind of guy that I've met who are like sort of just have this angry, bitter, like fuck women. And maybe they don't use those words, but they might as well. And there's this like women are damaged. They don't see the value in me. I just didn't meet the right one. The women I meet are all blah, blah, blah. Like there's this blame on that there's something wrong with the women that you meet. Do you want to add anything to
Yeah,
that?
I think that this is a particularly poisonous symptom of the nice guy phenomenon. The nice guys actually aren't very nice on the inside. When you see nice guys in a panel of nice guys online talking to each other, they're actually quite angry and bitter. The belief system they hold is actually not very healthy or friendly, especially towards women. Right? And this is one of the ugliest things a nice guy believes. Women are damaged. If women weren't damaged, they would see the value in me. I am a nice guy. I deserve value. And if they're not seeing value in me, they must all be corrupt. Right? This is the unfortunate incel phenomenon of our time when taken to the nth degree. I am a good person. Nobody sees it. And may they burn in hell for it. May they be punished for it. They're very bitter. And it's a really losing phenomenon. This is a loser's mindset. And I don't think it's really true. There are going to be damaged people of all kinds in the world. There are bad people of all kinds. There are users in every category. But to say, well, I am just so lily white perfect, if only all the women were not so damaged, they would all see my goodness and I would be their number one choice. I'm like, that is just reinforcing your delusion. That is simply reinforcing your idea that nothing can possibly be wrong with me. Nothing needs work here. The world needs to change. And that breeds a lot of resentment. That's a recipe for resentment. And this is also something that women perceive. Women don't trust nice guys, first of all, because they don't know who is this guy. And underneath that, women are pretty brilliant at feeling subtext. Like, this guy feels angry and creepy and resentful on the inside. I don't really trust the niceness that he's projecting on the outside. Right? This discrepancy between the outside and the inside is what registers as creepy. Yeah. And the nice guy often is creepy. And creeps often look like nice guys.
And we're saying this with so much care.
And it is, but it is the ugly truth. And I say this to men because I'm like, I'm pretty unforgiving to men. I am very unforgiving to any man that is walking around with creepy energy. I'm like, if 20 women encounter you and they think, oh, creepy, you need to look at yourself. Right? And creepiness is this lack of coherence between your facets, between your outside and your inside. Nice on the outside and something in across from you can perceive. I don't think that's the whole story about this guy. I think he's really resentful and bitter on the inside.
And what I want to say, and this is what it would look like, is like you're ready to leave a party and then you see somebody you want to talk to. So you stay extra, right? But like in your body, it's like there's just something. And so I am really tuned in, right? But let's say a regular woman who doesn't do all this work is like, something's off. What's the matter with him? And inside, you could be having just like, please like me. And also we're skipping really fast. This may be some deep inner truth that you don't even want to admit yet. And that's totally fine. A lot of this stuff will sit with you and it'll, turn in your head. And then you'll realize like, I am angry. I do want a partner. It is my turn. I've been alone for so long. Rah. So it's really important that you own those parts. It's impossible for someone to be happy all the time. I was on a date once and I was in a really dark space, and this guy refused. I almost got even darker because he was so joyful. He was bopping at the dinner table, physically bopping. And I was talking about death and sadness. And I really needed someone to listen. It was just coming up. And he was refusing. And I was like, I have to go. And then he wanted to walk me to the car. And then I think he started crying. It was really intense. And so the older you get, and all of us are in trauma state of some kind, and especially now things are opening up, this work is mandatory, or your inner life will show up louder than your outside. And all these mixed emotions are not easy for anyone to manage, but especially if you're in this field of trying to get people to like you, and you're trying and you're doing all these nice things, you're going to be exhausted. You're going to be lonely, and it's going to feel really hard to be you. And especially now, let's say the world is opening again, slowly, we don't even know, you don't want to feel left out. And so it's my belief, and what I've noticed about nice guys is they pay a lot, they're pretty hyper aware. They pay a lot of attention to detail, which is an amazing trait. And so with the school, the schooling and the training and the tools of bringing in some healthy masculine, you have the potential to be fucking amazing. Right. And so that's my hope. That's my excitement, that you get to connect with women. Maybe you know them, or maybe they're new, in ways that really bring up your energy and bring down your energy, so that all this energy isn't up here, but it drops into your legs, into your cock, into your belly. Like, to be an embodied man, again, has nothing to do with what you look like on the outside. It's that integration. And so even if you do meet a damaged woman, whatever that means, or you meet someone that you're not interested in, you can at least exchange powerful energy. This isn't about going out to get laid. This is about walking around the earth, feeling your conviction. Ah, it felt good. Okay, cool. So let's go to the third one, because we want to honor everyone's time when we have so many goodies here. So you spoke on this a little
questions,
bit.
please share them so we can
Yes,
address
please
them.
do.
Okay,
I'm
go ahead.
keeping an eye. No, not yet. Okay.
Okay.
So the third myth is women will eventually realize you're so nice and they will take initiative. And it's this hope. Like, do you want to talk about that for a couple of minutes? Like the hope.
Yeah, again, I think hope is like another form of denial. It's like eventually the ships are going to come in. Eventually, some woman is going to recognize me, that I am perfect the way I am. And I'm like, this hope strategy, I have seen men, they would rather live in eternal hope than possibly look at the fact that there's a reason things aren't working today. Right. And it is not a very proactive state to be in. It is not a very great state to be in. I don't know what else to say about that. There's a darker aspect to it, which is oftentimes the guy who is waiting in eternal hope that his niceness is going to pay off. Those men end up with really the wrong sort of women. Those
Oh my goodness. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Those men really end up with women who are very happy to use them. They end up with users. They end up with hustlers, right? I teach extensively in my men's course that naive men and hustling women are a match made in hell. And hell is busy lately because there are a lot of naive men, there are a lot of nice boys, and they're easy pickings for women who actually are hustlers, women who are actually looking to consume men. Because the thing is, the nice guy often may have many other assets. He may be doing fine in his work. He may have money, right? Sometimes nice guys see living very modest lives, so they save a lot of money. They have money, and they are easy pickings for women who are inclined to treat men that way, who are inclined to be users. So I see this really sad phenomenon of a guy waiting and waiting and waiting, hoping something wonderful is going to happen. And then he says, look, it happened.
You see, they're damaged.
And things don't often work out. And then you encounter that man a few months or a year down the line, and it is further bitterness and further resentment because now he's like, now he got taken, now he got used.
And and this is full circle of like why I could see why a nice guy would say like all women are damaged. I've seen so many nice guys, specifically with women who drink a lot, because they need all this caregiving. They need to be picked up off the floor physically. They need to be driven home. They need to pick up at the airport. They need to talk about their other guy problems. And this nice guy will be there for it.
Yeah.
So as you move through your day saying yes to things that are ridiculous, like going to the airport in New York City, I don't think anybody should be picked up at the airport. Like get in a cab, call an Uber. And if you're driving at 6 a.m. to pick somebody up at the airport, and that's the only thing you're doing, you're overextending yourself.
I mean, that should
And
at least be the mother of your children.
at least, okay, maybe, but even then, send a car like to get to the. So these little moments of being taken advantage of are usually by very needy women who have who are codependent, who need that caregiving. And so that's the trauma bond, basically, where two people who have shadows that just keep feeding off each other. And so I think that a lot of nice guys are alone because they're like, well, I don't want that. So I guess I'll just wait.
Yeah, and this is a very difficult pattern to pull people out of. Oftentimes, I even have to ask, like, do you actually even want to end this pattern? Why?
Yeah,
Because as Shane described, many men, if they are in that pattern, they have built their identity and their utility around being of use to needy women. Women who actually don't care about that much. But it's like that's what they know. That makes them feel useful. That's where they get the attention from the woman. And that's like that is the form of affection that they understand. So it's
right.
it's almost like, okay, so you like having a very imbalanced relationship, giving this much and not getting much in return, or giving this much and only getting complaint and bad treatment in return. But if that's your trick, then you really don't need our course to stay in your game. But
And
if
you
you're
know what?
like sick of it, which many of you are, then maybe we need to look at, well, why are you putting yourself in this position? Why is your esteem so low that you feel only by overextending this much will any woman even choose to have a relationship with me? And
And
that would be one aspect of not having an edge. That's the
correct.
very definition of a man who's lost his edge, who can be pushed around every which way. And the woman knows he's not going anywhere.
Mm. And knowing you as a BDSM teacher and learning the like talking and being with power dynamics, it's giving power away, right? So this can go so deep, and so I think it's hard for me to not go into that place. But the idea is, it's with tools. We don't have to go into therapy. Like you don't have to look at your past as like, I'm so fucked up, I can never be remedied or rehabbed. And I've seen it happen. I've seen really almost feminine men who are super emotional, really nice, use tools and believe this is going to work. And so when you put things into practice, like anything you did as a human, if you rode a bike, you didn't get on and were like, going to go Tour de France, like you have to take steps and tools. And to do it on your own, there's too much shadow. There's too much stuff that happened throughout your life that confirms, even if it's shitty, it's comfortable. So you just keep doing it over and over again. And having something feel shitty and be comfortable is a really crazy little stuck place that needs action. And so we're really excited that so many men signed up for this. And when we give you our offer, we're really excited about action taking. This is something that the timing is so divine. I can say that because I'm in this divine feminine world. But the idea is, what do you want instead? Right. So we can point out all the things that don't work. But if you answer to yourself, and maybe in the comments, or if you have any questions, I just want to share some of the fine comments. So we got awareness of one or my triggers is foundational for growth, especially growth from places of discomfort. Yes, there's somebody who's doing his work. Shane, excellent example of boundary setting, expectations, and self-value. Absolutely. Not just women, relatives, and people in general. Maybe goes back to being a people pleaser. Yeah. Yeah. And, it's kind of a place of like, you want to spend your time getting to the bottom of it. Great. We are not for you. We're here to be like, let's put shit into change. Yes, we want to hear and share about where your stuff came from. So what do you want instead? Let's say we have a magic wand and we're like, we're going to give you these tools. We're going to do these practices. We're going to coach you. We're going to be accountable. You're going to figure things out. What would you actually want in your life instead? We'd love to hear your ideas. Fuck validation. Yeah. This might be one of your students.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, totally. But it's a good start. You got to claim it, right? I want something different.
Right. I hear you.
Beautiful. So let's, while everybody's thinking about what they want, let's talk about this friend zone. We kind of did already, but that term itself is a big one.
Yeah, I think friend zone, I don't know, maybe you should start it off since it's
Yeah. Well, you mentioned it
phenomenon earlier. And then I can comment on it.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier that a lot of quote unquote nice guys don't have friends that are men. They don't have a brotherhood and they don't really see a need for it. They're not seeking it, or they have one and it's just like surface, or it's work related. And a lot of nice guys are really nice. Like, I'm a good accountant. I'm a this, I'm a that. I made my mommy really proud. And you're sort of searching for this ethereal, like, good job, good boy. And, in the BDSM world, or, you can play puppy dog, like you can actually play with these things, but not in real life. It doesn't bring your best self forward. Yeah. So the friend zone is, I've seen a lot of men who just have all women friends. They're ready to put on, a costume with each other. They're ready to go dancing, take everybody home at night. And they're surrounded by women, none of which are giving them intimate or physical attention.
Yeah, they don't inspire desire. Right. So I think this is one of the biggest topics to cover, which is the nice guy things. If I'm nice enough, I will be repaid in desire. And that payment never comes. Right. If I'm good enough, if I'm nice enough, if I'm useful enough to you, eventually I will get love and desire from the woman. And it just doesn't work that way. Right. So there's a lot of effort that's put in, and there's a lot of hope that is put in, saying someday it's going to pay off. Someday all my effort is going to add up to something. And oftentimes it leads to a lot of frustration and a lot of resentment, especially when the nice guy sees the woman he's interested in select some other man. Some other man that the nice guy will say, well, he's not nearly as nice as me. Which again would mean the woman is damaged, right? If you were not damaged, you would desire me. And I think that's really, really arrogant. I think that is really, really twisted on the part of the nice guy. That his niceness does not inspire desire, and he tries to buy that desire by other means unsuccessfully. And that's a very dark game the nice guy identity runs over and over and over again. And again, this is not just with new women. This is, again, in established relationships. This happens between husbands and wives too.
Yeah.
Right. Where the husband thinks, and this is a nonsense women have perpetrated to some degree. Oh, if you do dishes, I will find you sexy. No, you won't. Dishes is dishes. Chores are chores. Do them, don't do them, split them up, do them any way you want. But don't lie about what inspires desire. Really. I mean, if your man raking the autumn leaves really makes your pussy wet, awesome. But check down there to see that your pussy is dripping. Don't bullshit about it. Don't bullshit that if your man does dishes, you desire him more. Right? Desire is non-negotiable. So don't use this as leverage to make your man, do chores. It's nonsense. This stupidity runs back and forth many different ways between men and women and married couples. Like, if you do more chores, I will have more sex with you. Like, really? Doing chores inspires your desire? I really find that hard to believe. But this is something the nice guy laps up because he sees a pathway to desire. He sees a pathway to the woman's desire. She says, run through more hoops for me, jump through more hoops for me, run more errands, do more chores, and eventually I will reward you with my desire. But desire doesn't work that way. So what ends up happening? First of all, it's a failing strategy. Secondly, he is not working on a winning strategy. He has no idea actually how to inspire desire in his woman. This goes for the guy who can't get a woman. This goes for a married man whose wife is not passionate about him anymore. He doesn't know how to inspire desire in her. And he's looking for alternate ways to buy it. Nothing can buy it, not even money, not even jewelry. Sorry to say. She may give you some gratitude love on top of it. It's not the same thing as inspiring desire. So if you really want to play the desire game, it's a wholly different game to play with women, right? And it is one that the nice guy is very ill-equipped for. His constitution is ill-equipped to play that game. Because part of what's needed for that game is your edge. You don't have it.
And here's why we're working together. And there's so many beautiful wants coming up, by the way, especially what Kevin wrote. It's so important because I was a preschool teacher and I have a lot to say about that, about parenting and then having a 5-year-old daughter and being a strong dad. Anyway, I'll talk about that in a second, maybe. But what I want to, I interrupted my own thoughts. Shit. Hey, when I do that. Okay, well, I asked the question. We have an anonymous attendee. How do you get a woman to acknowledge you when you're emotionally depleted from being used or otherwise denied from other women and constantly being placed in the friend zone?
You have to work that hard to get anybody to acknowledge you. You're in a bad relationship. You're with somebody who doesn't understand reciprocity. So why have you put yourself in that position in the first place? Why have you overextended yourself towards somebody who's that ungracious? Why have you given so much already that you're in resentment territory already, that is not being given back to you? This is what the hope strategy looks like. Sitting and seething resentment. How do I finally get them to pay me for the work I've done? How do I get the women to acknowledge me for the work I've done? How do I get the women to desire me for all the work I have put in? It doesn't work that way. This is the ugliness of the hope strategy. I'm going to keep investing, and eventually my efforts are going to be paid off. And when they're not, you feel cheated, you feel frustrated and annoyed and angry, resentful. And that's actually not very attractive either. So it's not like a upcycle that can happen from that statement of piss off and resentment. Nothing you can build from there.
Yeah. And it's interesting because the how question, it's calling for a fix, right? Like, how do I just do this? And I would say in this moment, like, just stop.
Right? And more accurately, how do I just get her to change her response to me? I want her to respond differently. Which buttons can I press so she will start responding differently to me? I'm like, I don't know what to tell him.
Yeah. Well, this feels like when you get so wordy with someone and you're like, but no, this is what I need and blah, blah, blah. If that conviction from your balls is not coming into your words mean nothing. So it's actions. Take yourself out, give yourself time and space. And, if you want to go to, what I love to do with men is embodiment work, like get into your body, get into that, like, no, really fucking angry, like let that seed through your veins, not at someone, just like letting it out. And, it's interesting, like, I don't want to fix it, but I'm like, I love that you're so clear because this picture, what you're painting is one you have to paint yourself out of. There's no way that is not going to work. You're not going to get her to do anything. No one's going to change. It's going to be exhausting until by accident you erupt. And then you have to be apologetic and even nicer than you were to begin with.
You are the one who ends up apologizing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being treated unfairly.
I feel your pain. I hear you. You're not alone. And you're exactly who we want to work with. Like, bring it. If you can articulate it and also not fight for your limitations, like, yeah, this is the way it is. This is all I have. You know, things get complicated because they're not working. It's very simple. And, you know, it's hard to hear that, but it's very simple. It's just stop, take yourself out of it. Cool. So I love sharing with everybody. I do want to share a little bit about the father piece just for a moment. If you are not clear with your child and in your yeses and nos, you will raise a little girl who is confused. And when I'm going to give it, even though I feel really, when she's on a date with someone, she's going to give her power away because she's not used to hearing a yes or a no. So she's going to be either very spoiled and get her way because she's going to be manipulating, or she's just going to be like, I don't know how to say yes or a no because she never got those boundaries in her little life. So I love that you brought that up. It's as important as dating is because you're bringing a little girl into this world where her wounds are going to stem from the way she was parented. So I won't go off on that soapbox. I can't remember what I was going to share earlier, but yeah, I love, keep typing what you want instead. I want to share a little bit if this work resonates with you, if your heart's racing, if you feel turned on, like, fuck, I want to change this shit, stay here. We have a good offer to give you.
Somebody here writes about the hope piece that, you know, they interpret their hope space as optimism.
Oh, right. The positivity
the positivity cult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Optimism. You know what? I am in favor of optimism. I'm in favor of us creating brilliant visions for our future. I don't think we can equate the hope strategy with optimism.
Oh, yeah. I think he's saying like he resonates with it, but
you know what true optimism here would be? True optimism would be, I am going to find my edge. I'm going to live by my edge. And I am going to be optimistic that is going to yield results. I think that would be a more optimistic approach than saying, I'm going to keep overextending myself over to a person who is showing no sign of reciprocity. And I'm optimistic that she's going to act differently next month than she's been acting for the last 6 months. I don't think there's any basis for that optimism. I think that is in denial. That is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
And I also want to say, you know, we're talking pretty gender normative here just because it's easier, but this applies to any gender in any relationship.
Like, it does, and it applies outside of your romantic relationships. The nice guy phenomenon is damaging to men. So I speak specifically of men, but yeah. It extends way beyond your romantic frustrations.
All right, so let's share what we got cooking up. Ready?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, good. So we are offering it's 2 days on the weekend, 2 hours each, and it's called Nice Guy Rehab. Come in nice, leave with your edge. And the results that we really want you to get is being in control of creating more genuine attraction from women, but whoever you want attraction from, that you'll be in control of your emotions so that you can lead with strength and feel empowered and have more ease and be in control and leave that resentment behind. And you'll know your edge. You'll know it could be with words, physicality. And we have clients that are nice guys that this work works on. I know what I wanted to share. The reason I reached out to Om is we both do this work. I've seen my man clients reach a certain point with me, and then they just sort of we get limited. So me and Om offering this together, you're getting 2 really powerful perspectives, really the divine masculine and feminine and everything in between. So that in itself, I feel really excited about, because we can only do so much on our own, but coming together is like I don't know. I'm pretty excited. If I were a nice guy, I'd
I am,
be.
I always feel, I oftentimes feel, I feel frustrated with nice guys because they really hold on to like, what's wrong with being nice? And I'm
Mm.
like, you know what? Here's a beautiful woman who's going to tell you this shit doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for women. Maybe you need to hear it from women because most women out there, they're probably too nice to tell you anything. They don't want to be the bad guy. They don't want to be,
They have their own stuff. They
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 have
don't
their
know how
own
to
stuff to
speak.
deal with. They don't really want to fix you. They want to just send you on your merry way. So in this coaching, you need to hear from a woman. This doesn't work. This is not attractive. I'm sorry. This is not working. If you want to actually get the results that you're longing to create, this is what you need to change. So I think it's good for men to have both perspectives and kind of hear it from both sides.
Yeah. And it feels really good. Like when I'm working with a male client to just be like, that sucks. Like whatever you just did, you want to go on a date. Like I have a huge, community of women who are like, oh, you're working with nice guys. They like are desperate to go on dates. They want, everybody's really excited right now. And what's going to surprise you or not surprise you is you're going to go back into the world and be like, shit still sucks. Or you're going to find a mess. And if you're married, it's like you have been in the house with your partner. Like there are actual ways and sentences because I was a people pleaser. Sometimes I need a through line. Like, how do I get through this awkward moment when it gets to that place when you're like two reindeer and you're like trapped? There's an entangled situation. So shedding the new light on it. And I feel really good having you own the parts that you've been using out in the world and just reclaiming the power that you have or learning what it even feels like in your body to have the power. Because if you got in trouble as a kid for being strong with a dominating mother, that feeling will be scary to you. You'll feel like a bully. You'll feel like a mean guy. But through the practices, you'll come to life. And then you have a week in between from one class to the next, and you'll have homework and you'll have magic exercises to do so that your world feels different. And then you come back and we get to coach through it. So I'm sort of psyched on it. We'll put the link up. And if anybody has any questions on this, we're giving a fancy $50 bonus price for fast acting motherfuckers who don't want to be like this anymore. We'll offer it again in the future, but we're really excited about whoever's turned on and is like, yes, that's who we want to work with because that's who's going to get the most success right away. Anything you want to add to that?
I'm really looking forward to it. God knows I encounter men every day who kind of need this conversation and need coaching in this area. But yeah, I hope they seek it out.
Okay, awesome. So to close, I'm going to take us through it. Let's call it a visualization. And, we're available to be in touch. This link is good that I just put in for 24 hours, and then it will go away and you will remain as you are. Okay. All right. So I just want everybody to get really cozy and comfortable, maybe settle in. And whatever you're sitting on or you're feeling your feet planted on the floor, I want you to relax your asshole. If you don't know what that means or that feels weird, if it's really like make it tight, 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 and then relax. And if you shared your vision, if you shared what you want instead, or if you want to make it right now, I invite you to take a couple of breaths, breathing into your belly, into your balls, and breathing into possibility. Taking a breath into the idea of it being your turn. And making it bigger than just about yourself and your everyday. And whether it's kids in your world that you'll impact, or you'll be a better, healthier, stronger, more integrated man that's good for your community, knowing that you showed up here tonight means that you're willing to do something about it, willing to be in service. Our world really needs more integrated, strong, healthy, masculine men. And it starts with you. And right now, in this moment, there is a brotherhood, and it might feel most safe because you don't see each other. And then as you're sitting, as we bring ourselves back, see how much space you can take up right where you are. So some people call it man spreading. Maybe you open your arms and just feel your presence in the space that you're in. Let your mouth be open. Let your tongue be heavy in your mouth. And take a couple of deep breaths, taking up this big space. Relax your shoulders. And make a little promise to yourself. Maybe it's one piece of information you got tonight or something you want in your world that you're going to take an action for. Maybe it's somebody that needs a yes or somebody that needs a no. Make that promise to yourself and know that that seed right now matters and it was planted. And if this course feels right for you, it's a deep dive immersion. We are both passionate about your results. Don't think twice about it. Give it to yourself for the greatest good. And with that, wiggle your shoulders, bring yourself back to the space. Om, is there anything you want to, so the link is here. Let me know if you don't see it. And we'll also send it to you after this. But again, it's only 24 hours. So Om, is there anything you want to?
Link is good for registration, but we have a 24-hour discount.
Oh, right. Yes.
For $50. But the same link is valid for registration. But if you register by 10 p.m. tomorrow, you'll get $50 off.
Excellent. Ooh, that got me sweaty, that meditation. I felt all the men in the room. So nice.
Well, you know what? I think women are a big stand for men doing this work. I think women are tired of the nice guy routine.
Oh my goodness. I can't, how
Women,
many?
let me tell you guys, women are not happy when they're sitting across from you on first dates. And that's, I'm sorry if that sounds like bad news, but it's not like they're being mean. They're like, where are the men that I can give myself to?
I have so many married women clients that are like, how do I get my man to go do men's work?
Yeah, I hear you. So up to them, see if they come. The resistance out there is pretty mighty, but we can do our part.
Yes. Just so you know,
if Shane's boobs don't bring you in, I can't help you.
Look, I dressed up for you guys.
I know,
it's April 3rd and April 10th, and from 12 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's a nice guy rehab. You're going to come out different. Exactly. You're going to have tools.
Maybe Shane will pole dance for you in it. We'll see.
No. But there's also, I am going to open up this portal. Maybe that'll excite you. And the portal has so many genius things to read. If you're one of those guys who like mind fuckery, great. We got a lot of mind fuckery stuff for you to read. Om has tremendous amount of essays and courses, and I do too for men, which I did teach on OnlyFans, because I love being seen. I love attention. So so maybe, you know, if you suggest the pole dancing, I'm not in, but if I think of it, it's great.
You can charge them for it as far as I.
Amazing. So we hope that you join us. If you have any questions, shoot one of us a message. Yeah, anybody want to close out with anything? Oh, we have I don't know if it's the same question or. Okay, I gave a thank you because I'm nice too. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dan.
Wonderful. For coming. Thank you so much for coming. If you have any questions, please reach out to us and hopefully we'll see some of you in class.
Yeah, excellent. I love that Chuck said that. Thank you to all the men for bringing themselves. Over 60 men registered. It's powerful.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're out for now. Thank you so much. Bye.
Right.